101.1 FM and AM 1160. And in the studio with us this morning, Jonathan Bogert from the Historical and Genealogical Society of Indiana County Sheriff Bob Fyock, who is a Vietnam War veteran. And on the line with us this morning is Wesley Wertz from the American Legion here in Indiana. And our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted best personal injury law firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you all with us here today. All right, so let's talk about this, Jonathan. This has become an annual program.
Yes.
And it is something that folks really look forward to.
It is. The numbers have been growing steadily from year to year. More and more involvement within the community, which has been great. It's good to see all of the veterans come together and, to unite over sort of a common thing that they all can share. So, yeah. And we're glad to be a part of that. So we have some great folks involved, and that's going to be March 29th. So at the American Legion, Post 141, out on Philadelphia Street here. Mm-hmm. It's free to attend, and that starts at 6 p.m. So
6 p.m. is
yes.
the time.
Yes.
6 p.m. And when we think about the structure of the evening, what actually physically will happen?
So it's pretty similar to past years for those folks who are listening that have attended before. Mm-hmm. We'll pretty much have speakers. We'll have a little bit of history about the holiday and the conflict itself, and then a couple of readings from folks who had family members, who were involved, and unfortunately didn't make it home.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Sheriff Fyock, of course, Vietnam veteran, and you know the fraternity well, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
The good and the bad, Todd.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we think about that war, or it wasn't technically called a war, but when we think about that war and the people who participated in it, you're one of them. It is an aging population, as all populations do, but it's one that we would not like to lose anytime soon.
Well, that's true, and a lot of the history involved with this, I'd like to go over some of this stuff, how this came about as far as the National Vietnam War Veterans Day. It used to be that there wasn't any such a thing, mm-hmm. But now on March the 29th, it has been designated as a national holiday along with the other military holidays throughout the year. It joins 6 other ones such as Independence Day, Veterans Day, and it's given recognition to the Vietnam veterans. But the main thing, because it's national, they are saying it encompasses, it's covering the dates from all who served in all the armed forces, which there was approximately 9 million involved from November 1st, 1955 until May 15th of 1975, when actually everybody was left Vietnam completely. Mm-hmm. But the Vietnam War Recognition Act of 2017 established this National Day of Recognition, was put into effect for 3 specific reasons for March 29th. The first of which was the U.S. Military Assistance Command in Vietnam was disestablished. They left. On the 29th of March in 1973, the last combat troops were taken out of Vietnam. And then the last thing, and I'm not sure it's an actual thing, but yet all the prisoners that Hanoi had, they released the last of the prisoners that they said that they recognized. Mm-hmm. That one's still questionable. But it's the fact that's why those 3 entities came to be, which established the reason for March 29th of 1973, mm-hmm. to make this a national holiday.
Yeah. Wesley Wertz is on the telephone with us this morning. The American Legion is going to be hosting this event. Wes, I know that you have a lot of folks who served in Vietnam and down through the years have had a lot of folks who served there who are members of the Legion, and you'd love to see all of them and or their family members come out for that night.
Yes, that is correct. And as previously stated, in previous years, we have 41 men from Indiana County that served during the Vietnam conflict and war, and so it's nice to see their families come out and honor them, in addition to friends and comrades that did make it back who served with them.
During the Vietnam War, of course, those soldiers encountered a number of different obstacles that were much, much different than anything that anybody had ever dealt with before. And so when they came home, they formed their own groups. And I know that Legion has played a great role in not only the formation but the support of those groups down through the years. Are there still such groups active at the Indiana American Legion, or are they more informal?
There's a lot of informal groups that commemorate together. I know that there is a veterans group specifically for other clubs as well that honor Vietnam veterans and veterans themselves, which is why I'm proud that we can put on this event teamed up with other veterans organizations such as the VFW, the Historical and Genealogical Society, our auxiliary Unit 141, and our SAL Squadron 141.
Jonathan, the program does start on the 29th at 6 p.m., you said?
6 p.m., correct.
Yes. And we want to emphasize that if someone who fought in the war is no longer with us, their family members are certainly invited.
Correct. And in past years, we've had, siblings, we've had wives, of those who have passed on, and they came and were a part of, the program. In fact, part of the program itself has a letter reading from someone who was had a relative over in Vietnam who did not make it home, and she's agreed to be a part of that. So she's going to share that letter, that story, and just show that it was affecting lots of folks in the country at the time.
Children and grandchildren are a very important part of this, and if you can have them come and be a part of this evening, the legacy that they are able to carry on is extremely important, isn't it? We don't want to forget those who served in Vietnam, and it's going to be those folks who bring it forward into future generations so that they know what their family members did.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that you go back a generation, it was the folks who fought in World War II. We have very few World War II veterans left now. And, the Vietnam War veterans are, going about the same way. I mean, eventually we're losing more and more every year. And unfortunately, if you don't talk to them now while, they're alive, then, those stories, that, that connection passing along, that sort of, community will no longer be able to take place.
The folks who fought in the Korean War, many of those also served in World War II. And it was not long before the Vietnam War began. Sheriff Fyock, I know that when you served in Vietnam, you very most likely served with people who had fought in both of those conflicts, Korea and Vietnam as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of the older veterans over there, during my tour, I turned 21 in Nam. But we had anywhere from command sergeant majors to some of the higher ranking generals and everything that were in their late 50s and 60s. Mm-hmm. And that was almost unheard of at the time. But yet they were still there, and they were very active, and they participated. And I remember a couple of them used to be at different times tell us how it used to be when they were in Korea compared to Vietnam. And it was just hard to believe.
Future generations of those who served in our armed forces, obviously, when they hear about what happened in Vietnam and your experiences at the war in Vietnam, they're different from what they experienced, whether it be Desert Storm, whether it be the subsequent battles or wars or actions, or even in times when there was no armed conflict going on in another country, they still served in our armed forces. The stories that you're able to tell to them and the experience that you're able to share would be highly valuable, I would assume, to them as they consider their own military service.
Well, it would be, but a lot of the stuff that took place in Nam, a lot of even myself, don't talk about it. Mm-hmm. A unless you're really in the thing. And you were saying about the legacies with the children. That's one of the legacies of the Vietnam veteran, that we are there to make sure all others from the other current wars are being recognized and appreciated for what they did. Not coming home to be verbally abused or even threatened or actually physical abuse. And it's a shame the way that whole conflict played out. But the reason, there's still some animosity, and I was talking to Jonathan about this, because the actual Vietnam veterans compared to the other ones that were not in Vietnam, there was some disparity among the troops.
Yeah.
But the periods that I read was when everybody was involved. But they were even encompassed with the Vietnam War, and they had nothing to do with it, but yet they were downgraded.
Sure.
So that's why they made this a national thing on the 29th of March. It covers all those dates.
A lot of national scars for America from the Vietnam conflict, and certainly the soldiers who were there and all of the armed forces personnel who were there bore a lot of those scars and still bear them today. And our country is doing what it can in order to soothe those wounds and help to find healing for those folks who served. Jonathan, this program should be a big part of that.
Yes, I think it will be. And but folks, March 29th at 6 p.m. Now, we do have a bunch of folks who, local businesses and individuals who have helped with parking for the event. That's been one of our big issues over the years. And so for folks that the event is, free to attend, we want folks to know that they can park behind the Legion, the lot behind Head Start, the lot behind Representative Struzzi's office, Thompson Insurance, and there's handicapped parking in front of the Legion. So we want as many folks to attend as they can, know that there's parking, there's, we want to get as many folks involved as possible.
6 p.m. on March the 29th, the American Legion in Indiana. Gentlemen, thank you. Wes, thanks to you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, and both all have a wonderful day today, and we'll look forward to the program on the 29th.
All right.
Thank you, Todd.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. It's 9:25, the CBS Sports Minute next.
Don't miss the savings during the Dowd's Custom Order Sales Event. For a limited time, save big on all custom orders and floor samples store-wide. Save on living room, dining room, bedroom, occasional furniture, leather recliners, bedding, and more. Whether you want furniture for one room or your entire home, the savings are incredible. Plus at Dowd's, get 1 year free financing. Drive a little, save a lot. Dowd's of Plumville and Greensburg.
Doesn't your home deserve Dowd's?
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Last Sunday, Kansas State needed to beat Kentucky.